me learning the process of the animation industry and frame-by-frame animation and character designs and storytelling. That's what I wanted to do. So this was just me basically building my ideas for Team Supreme. It was like a package. Like, oh, I'm learning this. This is perfect.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hustle and Art podcast. This is the podcast where we give you the hustle behind the art. My name is Anthony Joyner, and today we're going to be talking to the one and only Joshua Leonard. Now, Joshua is the creator of the up-and-coming group of heroes known as Team Supreme. In Team Supreme, children with disabilities will be depicted as heroes with special powers. Throughout the episode, he's going to give you the story behind his heroes while also giving future animators very valuable information on things like creation and ownership. So please grab you a pen and paper and listen closely to what this man has to say. Take down notes as needed. And be sure to stay tuned after the interview as we give you our legend of the week. This week's legend is going to be someone who actually became known as a legend through Disney Studios. So please stay tuned and listen to his story.
Thank you for having me on the show today. Like you said, my name is Joshua Leonard. I am an animator, 2D animator, frame by frame, and a character designer, and a TV show creator, and the creator of the upcoming cartoon Team Supreme, which is about a group of kids who have a special need or a disability, but they're also superheroes. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's actually very awesome. As a matter of fact, I started watching you, about a year ago now, when you had that first interview, when you actually introduced it and told everybody about it?
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, this is amazing just to see the different kids with different abilities, the kids of different cultures. That's something else that I thought was truly amazing, because usually people want to try and stick to one culture, or they may just throw one sprinkle of another culture in it, but you were truly multicultural in the entire thing. Every person that you put out was a little different, and I thought that was just amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for inclusion and diversity. So I felt like, especially as an animator and character designer of color, it's a lot harder anyway. So I'm like, man, what better way than to show everybody in this cartoon? So, because I know how I felt growing up and not seeing myself or somebody that looked like me in character. So I'm like, man, you know what? I'm about to have every single type of look. And I not only wanted to have, superheroes that just all have muscle. I wanted to have a superhero that was a little heavier, just some different looks. All villains don't look like villains. Some may look like good guys,
Absolutely.
And that's what I also wanted to have, like some teaching aspects in the cartoon as well for the kids. So yeah, man, super excited about it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see it come on TV. I know it's going to mean a lot to a lot of kids, because I remember when my kid first saw Black Panther.
Yeah.
Of course, he loved Spider-Man. He loved Batman. But Black Panther is the longest movie my son has ever sat through without going to sleep. And when he left the theater, he was steadily screaming, Marissa! Ooh, ooh, like he was screaming that the entire time. So I can imagine for a kid in a wheelchair that has never seen someone like them be a superhero, exactly what that's going to mean to them.
Yeah, it's going to be dope, man. And that's what the whole point of Team Supreme is to really just give back and put these different types of personalities and looks and medical differences in the forefront, rather than having them kind of in the back, like sprinkled in here and there. Nah, this whole universe is nothing but superheroes of that have special needs or a disability or some type of medical difference. Because That was the whole plan, man. I want to have like a Marvel universe with just all these type of superhero characters and villains as well, you know.
That's awesome.
Telling these stories.
What gave you the idea to do that?
You know what? I have a lot of friends and family that I've kind of learned and studied and watched. But another thing was me just being, you know, a graduate. I just graduated last year with an animation degree. And so I started doing research. And the first thing I found was that people of color, black people, are less than 3% of the animation industry. So automatically I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be tough. So not only do I have to be good, I have to stand out somehow, some way. So, I was brought up watching Looney Tunes. I'm 35 years old, so I was watching Looney Tunes, and, you know, I've seen all the old cartoons, but I've never seen a superhero or, you know, a comic or, you know, they've been close. You know, they tried to do a few, Daredevil, I think, and a couple, you know, the X-Men was supposed to be some type of inclusive and diversity with them as well, but never like a whole universe of just special need or medical difference superhero. So that's kind of where I got it from. And then I started doing research, and I'm seeing people who are on the autism spectrum and like high functioning and seeing things that they can do, and it's like superpowers to me. Like, I feel like I'm pretty intelligent. You know, I graduated with a 4.0 and I was a commencement speaker and all of that. But seeing what they can do, I couldn't study to have this type of memory like some of them have. And just seeing things like that is really inspiring. And that's where it came from, man. Like, I didn't know somebody who is blind, their other senses raised, like the hearing, and to me that's like, come on, man, that's setting up for
that's a true superpower.
Right? Yeah. So it's like, how can you not use that? It's a given, you know.
Yeah. Somebody
who's deaf, you know, their vision increased. I'm like, man, yo, this is unbelievable. But it was so dope to me, and I'm so infatuated with it. If I wasn't an artist, I'd probably be a doctor, you know, just because I love learning about this type of stuff and seeing this type of stuff. And but yeah, that's where it came from, man. So I started looking, learning and listening, and I got a buddy of mine who's a doctor, and he deals with kids with a medical difference, and he always gives me all this feedback and tips and information that he sees when he's studying these kids and working with them as well. So I learned a lot, and I truly enjoy it.
And that's awesome. And I think that you just hit on something that a lot of artists should really pay attention to. You didn't just go out into a field and decide, hey, I'm going to start doing some pretty stuff and put it out there in the world and hope that people like it. You actually took a look out into the world and said, this is something that interests me. How can I help to fill a void in that particular space? And as an artist, you have a unique perspective on things. Most of us look at these things and we think, how can we turn this into a business? Yeah. But you looked at this and you said, how can I turn this into representation? How can I turn this into something that's fun? How can I turn this into something that actually touches people's hearts?
Right.
And as an artist, I think that no matter what type of artist you are, no matter what field you decide to go in, I think that you should really look at that. Like, how can I fill a void for people? Yeah. And how can I use something that I'm very passionate about to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing. Selfishly, I wanted to see this for me. You know, when I draw for me because I have depression problems at times. So it's peaceful for me when I'm drawing. So I'm like, man, you know what? I've never seen this type of character. Let me create this character that has vitiligo, you know, but, you know, we'll come up with superpowers for this character. And I mean, I wanted to see that for me. And when I kind of started teasing it out there to the world, that's when it went viral. And everybody's like, yo, this is a game changer right here. And then when that happened, that's when I kind of realized, okay, this is why God put me here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I was a really good athlete, and I had scholarships and all of that, but I never stopped drawing. But I realized that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This exact project right here is why I'm here.
Wow.
To change people's lives and to teach. Yep.
That's
the
awesome.
only reason I know that because everything falls into place. Like literally, it's just falling into place daily.
Right. And tell me about the day that you decided to actually put this out, because one of the things that I run into a lot when it comes to artists is that fear that someone's going to take it. Like if I put it out there to the world, someone's going to take it. What made you go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put this out to the world. I don't care what anybody says. Like I'm going to put this out here. What brought you to that conclusion?
Absolutely. First things first, I've already, I did the copyright and trademarks and all of that. So I wasn't worried about somebody trying to take it. I knew it had never been done before. I did research on it, so I knew if somebody was going to try to take it, fans and supporters would jump on them like, yo, you're not the first to do this. He is. We saw it from him first. So,
right.
and that's fine. I know somebody's going to try to, matter of fact, I think it's already happening, but it's not Team Supreme. So, at least the people are changing things up, where they have, maybe it's a whole team of characters that have autism, which I'm fine with that, man. If I can inspire somebody to create different types of characters, I'm 100% for that. But as far as Team Supreme goes, I wasn't worried about anybody trying to take it. I have a lawyer, I'm good. So
that's great. Yeah. And see, that's once again something that a lot of artists are gonna learn from this. I'm hoping that they take that from this. The first thing you said was that you went and got a copyright.
Copyright, yeah, definitely. It's cheap too, $35. Get your characters, if you can, get them all designed up and copyright them all at the same time for $35. It's very cheap, it's affordable. It's copyright.gov, so really easy to do. Step-by-step process. You just upload files. It's that easy. Trademarking is a little more difficult, but it's worth the, it's definitely worth the money. So, right. But you gotta do all of that, man. If you plan on going that far.
So when did you? I know you said when you got out of school with animation, you decided you wanted to go into the industry. When did you decide that Team Supreme would be the thing? Like, what brought you to that conclusion that Team Supreme was that thing, and what got you to continue to expand on that?
Yeah, well, Team Supreme was already thought of in 2009. I just didn't know anything about animation other than Disney and Chuck Jones and Looney Tunes, stuff like that. I knew I wanted to be an animator and a character designer, and I knew about Team Supreme. So I moved out here to Atlanta. I'm a Hurricane Katrina victim from Biloxi, Mississippi, military brat. So when I got evacuated to Atlanta, I didn't get into the Art Institute at the time because I had too much debt. But everything worked out. My daughter was born during Hurricane Katrina, so went back and stayed with them for a couple years. And when I came back this time to move, I got in. So I've always wanted to get my degree in animation and illustration. So me learning the process of the animation industry and frame-by-frame animation and character designs and storytelling, that's what I wanted to do. So this was just me building my my ideas for Team Supreme. It was like a package. Like, I'm learning this. This is perfect. So as I'm in school, I'm taking notes on this for Team Supreme. Okay, I can use this. This is a character turnaround for, okay, I got to have this for all my characters. Boom. So, and while in school, I'm just constantly just building Team Supreme up kind of quietly, because I didn't put it out until like my senior year. That's when I kind of started teasing it, which was maybe 2017, 18, I think people started seeing it.
Yeah.
Was it? It went viral last year. That's right.
Right. It went viral, man. When I saw it, I just knew. But
it's crazy because that's I was in 2 car accidents back to back, so I was on bed rest. So I had to do something. I had to draw something. The animation was trash.
Oh man!
But I just wanted to show like this is not necessarily how they're gonna look, but these are some of the characters, Wow. And that's what went viral, man. They started just to love it. But the developmental process is a very long process. but you have to go through it. That's why there's so many designs of my characters, looks and stuff. Like okay, this one's scratching, didn't like it, boom, let's move on to this one. Okay, this will be easier to animate. It's a lot of that goes back and forth with the animation process. So if you're listening and you want to get into the animation industry as far as like the drawing aspects, a lot of work, is tedious, but it's so fun. So fun.
That just shows your passion for it because, man, I've seen, I have a kid, my wife's brother, and I've seen him sit and animate.
Yeah.
And I mean, he will sit for 8 hours straight, sitting in front of the computer with his Wacom tablet and just draw and draw and draw. And it's the most amazing thing when he gets done. But it does take a lot of passion. It takes a lot of heart to do it. And that brings me to something else. So what was your next step? Because you're still going back and forth with the development of these characters, but then I saw a while ago where you were like, hey, I'm going to be going to a few interviews, and you went to some major interviews. So tell us about that. What was that process?
Yeah, so I went viral on LinkedIn as well. So I'm character designs, and people don't know I've been working at Home Depot for like 14 years. I'm still working for them. So it's just because you see the progress going outside, you don't see I'm busting my tail over here too. I work in a lumber yard, so it's very physical, it's heavy lifting. So I work from 1 to 10. When I get out of there, I come home, I'm exhausted, man. So I'm up another 4 hours. Now my day really starts. Now I get to do what I want to do. So that's why I'm up drawing. But what were you asking again, man?
What was your what you just said right there was really important too, though. Before we go back to that, we'll get that question, but
okay.
You just said something that was really important as well. You have a 9 to 5 that you actually work longer than 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
And it's very physical, but you're so passionate about your project that even after that, you still come home and you still hit the grind. You're still hustling.
You have to, man. You have to. And my daughter is about to be 14 in September, so when she asks, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. Well, how bad do you want it? Because it's definitely... It's not going to be easy, but if you really want it that bad, you got to sacrifice. You got to do it. And that's where I'm at right now. Like, I'm to the point where nothing is going to stop me from putting this product out. So whether I have to do it myself, I'll do it. I'll animate the whole episode, and it might take me 2 years to do, but I'll do it. But, I remember the question now. Yeah, so where I'm at right now, I'm working with Lena Waif and her production company, Hillman Grad. I got Jason Weaver, who's a good friend of mine, and my what do you call it? I can't think of the word, man. But yeah, he's on board. So Lena and her production company, Hillman Grad, they're finding me a co-writer, and we're looking for one specifically with a special need or a disability or something like that. That way we can move forward and kind of make sure everything is, when you write, you want it to be 100% true to life as far as getting everything right with the medical differences and stuff like that. And that's, when you're dealing with a topic like this that's so sensitive, that has to be correct, because you can step on a lot of toes if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
So we make sure we get the right term and the right usage correct. But yeah, we're getting the writers together, and then we'll start the writing process. And so I'll have a co-writer with me. Yeah, we'll move forward, man. So,
okay.
Wait, man. Yeah, we're in a good spot right now.
That's awesome, man. But what got you there? What was it like after you started with the animation and you went with LinkedIn and everything? How did you actually get the interviews, and can you tell the people like who you had interviews with? Because I remember you putting it on social media. I'd rather you tell everybody, but
wow.
Like, who did you have interviews with, and how did you get those interviews? Because a lot of people are going to look at this and say, wow, wait a minute, no, I can't do that. He did that, I can't get that. What did you do to actually get there?
Man, one thing, I was just humble, man. I never stopped working. Like, I'm always drawing. Even when I get off work, like I said, that's how I went viral on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is how I got the Nickelodeon job. So I forgot to even bring that up, but I do freelance character design for Nickelodeon. So it's just, you constantly have to be consistent, man. Always be putting out work, even though it may not seem like people are watching. Somebody is always watching. My father always, he raised me. He always told me, "You're a walking resume." So how you carry yourself, that last name, that's all you have, man. So you want to make sure they talk good about that. So that's kind of how I carry myself. I'm a man of integrity. So and just being humble, man. Anybody that shares my work on social media, I always try to reach out. Thank you. I appreciate you. Because them shares are just as valuable as getting paid.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who's watching, man. So I'm always so appreciative of anybody that shares my work. So, but yeah, as far as getting the interviews, I have a really good, and I'm thankful for this. Like my support system is crazy. And these are supporters and fans of Team Supreme that they reach out to these big, huge companies, and they reach out to me. Tomorrow I got an interview with Special Olympics. That's huge.
Wow. Yeah,
that's a major one, man. So Special Olympics, they're actually the ones that flew me out to LA about 3 months ago, paid for everything, and I did a stream-a-thon with them. So did an actual TV live interview with them in a high-rise penthouse suite, highest building in Hollywood. I mean, it was amazing, man. It was amazing, and that's how that's what I was telling you earlier. That's how I know I'm supposed to be doing this. Everything falling into place. So, but it's a blessing, man. And there's so many big companies that interview me that I can't even. I know A+. I know Ashton Kutcher's company, A+ magazine, was probably the first one to reach out. Wow. The one that went viral was. Oh man, let me see. I'm gonna have to pull it up. See if I can find it on my website real quick.
I think the one that I saw was A+, but there was another one that was out there a lot as well.
Yeah, let me see here. Here it goes. Okay, there we go. So I was on NPR last week. That's a big time radio station. Jason Weaver did a podcast for a strong black lead for Netflix, and he shouted me out. Big man gave me a super dope shout out. Said I was the next Stan Lee, that's huge.
That is very huge.
For and if you're listening and you don't know who Jason Weaver is, you probably do. Jason is a big time mentor to me. He's the one that he played Michael Jackson in the Jackson 5 movie. Got handpicked by Michael. Did Simba in the Lion King, sang all the songs. Did Thea. ATL, did a whole bunch of stuff. So he's a big time part of this success that I'm getting right now. But I did NPR, I did ABC News, CBS. I'm sorry. I've been in magazines. Let me see. Toon Boom, who sponsors me, they did a feature on me. I was in Cartoon Brew, which is an animation website. Let me see. Because of them, we can. That's a big time online company. Attention was the one that went viral. They're the ones that ran that one that went viral and showed the video clip and all that stuff. Let me see. What else?
There's a lot of different people, man, that actually took a big interest in you. That was amazing.
It's a blessing, man. Yeah, Black Enterprise. Let me see. Yeah, A+. Mashable was after A+. CBS 46. It's a few. It's a few, man. I'm real. I'm very thankful. Very thankful.
And there are two things that stand out within that are really important. And one of those things is that, first off, you found a way to get your work out there. Had you never put your work out there for people to see, you didn't wait until it was a finished product before you put it out. You put it out as a concept. And a lot of, especially visual artists, they don't want anyone to see any glimpse of their work until it's completely done. And
Right.
sometimes it's okay to take that leap of faith, because within taking that leap of faith, it sets you up for success in the future. And now, because of what you put out there, you have so many different people taking an interest in it.
Right. Yeah. And at first I was not scared, but I was like, man, I wonder if, will they like it? Will it be safe? And then I was like, you know what, man? It's time. This needs to happen. I've never seen anything like it. Let's make it happen, man. Let me at least just put it out there. And then once it went viral, like, wow, okay, now worldwide people are watching.
Yeah.
It's in the U.S. So now is somebody from this area gonna try to take it? And then you worry about that. But it was already copyrighted and trademarked by that point anyway. So I'm just really grateful for all the feedback, positive or negative, that it gets. And it doesn't get any negative stuff. People just want to make sure that, I'm actually doing research. I get a lot of email, thank you for finally showing us on TV as the lead. And, just if we could just make sure you say this, instead of this. This is the proper word, the proper term and usage of this. So it's really helpful. But, yeah, man, it's great.
And one other thing that I want to point out is that you've mentioned a lot of different people. So that says that you've been developing a network over this entire time that you've been working on this. Over the entire time that this has been a concept in your mind, you've been developing a network, and that network has put you in touch with the exact right people.
Exactly.
And as you stated, like, it's a blessing to be able to gain access to all of that, and that means stepping out of your fear, maybe even stepping out of your comfort zone sometimes, because most, especially visual artists, are introverts, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They don't want anybody in their circle. Like, they don't want to talk to anybody. Like, they go out, they talk to people at certain functions, and then they disappear, and you may not see them for a month.
Right.
But you've established connections with a lot of different people. Tell us about that a little bit, like establishing connections. How do you do that? And tell us a bit about that.
Okay, first of all, in the animation industry, you have to be able to get out there. You can't be scared, because you got to realize, like, if you're working in the studio, you're gonna be with these guys for like 15, 16 hours a day. So they want fun, cool people that they can talk to and have a good time with. So if you're just gonna be boxed in, they might not hire you. So main thing is you got to get out and go to these events, these animation events, these writers guild events. You just got to network, man. So, and I did that when I was in school. My school, they I remember they were talking about how the importance of branding. So that's the first thing I did. I got business cards made, and I'm like, man, if I'm gonna be spending this type of money, first of all, I'm gonna try to destroy the competition that's in the school with me. I mean, when I graduate, I want everybody to know who I was at this school, and they did. So I started getting little speaking engagements. I did Kennesaw State University about a month ago. I did what is this school? The Cumberland Academy of Georgia about 2 weeks ago, where I taught a character design and animation lesson to a special needs school. Man, we had a blast. So it's just little things like that, man. And once you start meeting the right people, you also got to come up with an idea, man. Depending on what you want to do, I wanted to be a creator. It's cool to work for Disney and do Mickey Mouse cartoons and stuff like that. I wanted my own stuff. Like I said, less than 3%. We got to stand out somehow. I wanted to have my own cartoon. I wanted to be the brains behind the cartoon. And so I came up with this idea. And sometimes the creator is just as valuable as the animator or the person putting the cartoon together, because, it's the idea first. But you have to be able to communicate with people and network. It's so valuable.
Absolutely, especially if you're going to go about doing it the way that you're doing it, because, like you said, you're not working for these networks. Like, right. You're doing, this is your thing, and you're going to be essentially licensing this work to them. Can you tell us a bit about that too? Like how does that work? If you develop a concept and you go to one of these major networks and say, hey, this is mine, I would like for you all to show it. Tell us a bit about what that means. How does that work?
Yeah, so first of all, I haven't signed any contract with any big studios yet because my thing is I would like to go through Netflix or Amazon or HBO Kids or, we'll see. So I got a lawyer, like I said, but the main thing is the licensing. I don't need to be rich. I don't care about all that. I don't care about fame and all of that. So the main thing is I know Disney's going to try to buy me out, just like they do they buy everybody out, man. They some bullies.
They're buying everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, Disney's going to own Home Depot in a minute. I'm sure they're going to merge together. But you have to. I knew from the top. I know how the industry works. I used to act and do music as well. So I've toured. I did movies. I get it. But with this one, I was like, nah, I'm not signing anything until it makes sense. I want everybody, I want to take care of the people that help me out along the way. That way we can all eat. But yeah, once you're talking about the licensing and all of that, because that's where you make your money. The toys, the video games, the blankets, the costumes, that's where you're going to make your money. But as far as the TV show goes and getting on a channel, I haven't signed anything yet, so I couldn't quite tell you exactly how that works. I just know the percentage. It's got to be right for everybody. And I mean, one thing I'm not going to do is just sell Team Supreme to get $1 million. No, absolutely not. No way.
I honestly think that this is going to be worth a lot more than that. This
is $1 billion idea. I'm smarter than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and even then, I wouldn't, because I don't, like I said, I don't need to be rich or wealthy like that. I get it. If I can be happy, and because once I say I sold it for the $1 billion or whatever it is, I don't know the intention of this company that bought it. I don't know if they're going to mess it up. And so I always want something to do with the cartoon. And that's going to be in the contract. If we're going to do it like that, I want to be there for the live movies and have to have some type of say-so in it, since it is my idea.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man.
And I was recently having a conversation about the future of the television industry. And I was listening to a podcast where they talked about kind of where the television industry was going to go. And I listened to Gary Vaynerchuk make a slight speculation about where he thinks it's going to go as well. And a lot of people are looking at the fact that all of these social media platforms are now creating their own TV side. Like is this Instagram TV, Facebook Watch.
Right.
Snapchat has this little channel thing going. YouTube has YouTube Red. Yep. Mm-hmm. So with that being the case, I think that that's going to be a huge game changer for a lot of animators as well, because you got Netflix scrambling to keep up with what Amazon is kind of throwing out, the money that Amazon is throwing around to make their originals. And then you got Disney. Disney just bought out the remaining shares of Hulu. Yep. And they're also saying that they're going to make their own streaming service for children now.
Yeah, November.
Right. So that's going to change the game. There's a lot of avenues that are opening up for animators, especially because a lot of people are trying to get to the kids, because the kids are running YouTube right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So a lot of people are trying to get to the kids. So animators are going to have a very big platform to shine on now, and they get a choice. They get a pick. And I think it's going to be important for them to recognize, like you just said, you recognize that your idea is worth so much that it's not worth selling. Like it's too much for you to sell it, because you want to make sure to maintain the integrity of that cartoon.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yep.
And so with the other animators that are out there, it's going to be very important for you to have an understanding of your mindset. Now, this isn't speaking against anyone that wants to sell their cartoon, because the goal of a lot of businesses, there are a lot of businesses, a lot of business owners that start their businesses with the end goal of selling it. There's an exit strategy.
Absolutely.
So it's okay for you to do that. But when you have something that you want to hold near and dear, don't allow someone to come and throw you pennies on the dollar and say, hey, I'm going to buy this whole thing from you. You can go and buy you a car with this, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I think that's extremely important, and that's something that you all need to look out for. And if you notice, as I was saying this, Joshua also stepped in and he kept saying, yeah, he knows what's going on in that industry. So for all of you animators out there, it's important for you all to take a step back and look into all of these things as well, because all of that directly affects you. You may not be someone that wants to watch the news every day, but it's okay for you to simply pull up the Bloomberg report and take a look at these different networks. Search these networks out, because they release press releases constantly. Whenever they make a major move, they make sure that it's in the news because it affects their stock prices. So keep an eye on that type of thing, and it'll help you with learning where you need to take your next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you also mentioned that there's another project that you're going to be working on that you would like to toss out. Tell us a bit about that.
The other project that I have?
Yeah, you said you were going to be... give me a moment. Let me pull it back up here.
You talking about the curriculum? I mean, I got
the curriculum.
Yeah, I got a couple. Yeah, as far as Team Supreme goes, man, I'm gonna have video games. It's just gonna be a bunch of fun stuff. But yeah, right now I'm working on a curriculum for the schools. I want Team Supreme to be in every school to teach diversity and inclusion. And so I'm like, man, what better way to get through to the kids than superheroes, man? We can all, we all relate to superheroes, men and women, boys and girls. So that's what I'm doing now. On top of reading scripts and doing all that other stuff, drawing as well. So I'm gonna do some artwork tonight as well. But yeah, so I got that. I got the comic with. Can't speak too much on the comic, but it's gonna have some dope technology involved, and I'm super excited about that as well. So yeah, I mean, Team Supreme is gonna be major, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you got this whole Stan Lee thing down pat, for real. I think you're really coming up on legend status, man, and awesome. Bringing it into the schools is going to be amazing too, because so many schools now have taken away the art programs.
Yeah.
What you just said, I talk about this all the time, but art is the most important thing for any culture.
Facts, yeah. And I'm glad you reminded me, because I also have the Joshua Leonard Foundation that is in the works right now. And speaking of the arts, we'll have STEAM programs, not STEM, STEAM. So we'll have all the STEM stuff with the A involved, which is for art. So I refuse to take the art out of teaching to these kids. That's how you're going to get through to them, whether it be through music, artwork, stage plays. Gotta have that art in there. So yeah, man.
And I think that's truly amazing, man, because one of the reasons that a lot of the schools, when I talk to some of the teachers and things like that, one of the reasons or the excuses that are given to take art out of schools is that most of the teachers don't major in art. And for the ones that do, they're not really as engaged in art. They're not as interested in art. So when you have someone like you that is willing to put together a curriculum, that's willing to do something to come out and actually help, and then you have this whole program that you're bringing along with it, that helps with a lot of things. Funding is an issue for a lot of schools. When you put together something like this, you help to alleviate some of those issues. So for someone that has the opportunities, for someone that has the resources to do that, it's truly amazing. And you have to have patience to sit down and actually look at, how is this going to affect everything? How can I make sure that these steps are taken and these different precautions? It sounds like you've done a lot of that already.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because I'm all about giving back, man, and the kids. They're definitely the future. They need real role models again, like it used to be. We got enough thugs out there, man, and that's the problem. So it's time to get the role models back, men and women. You know, they need to see. They need to see this side of it. You know, like I said, I was an athlete first. I was a really good athlete. It's not all about going to the NBA or the NFL or the Major League Baseball. There's so many other things. And just because I speak on animation, a lot of kids don't know the animation industry is deep. There's so many jobs. You can get an accounting job at Disney, you know. So just because you don't draw doesn't mean you can't work at an animation studio. There's so many jobs in the animation industry that you can get. So if you just love cartoons and stuff like that, there's plenty of things you can do, man.
That is a diamond right there because, I mean, I talked about this with my brother. He loves sports and everything, and everybody kept telling him, hey, you know, you need to make an exit plan. You don't need to just rely on basketball and football because if something happens, then you'll never make it. I had to sit down and have a conversation with him. When you're committed to something, right, when you love something, it's going to hurt not to be able to be on the court or to be on the field. Right. But there are other ways for you to remain involved with what you love. You don't have to give up what you love because you're not talented at one area or because something happened to pull you away from that particular area. Because every industry out there has several different facets that are absolutely necessary to make it roll smoothly. So when it comes to animation, they need an accountant. They need someone to advertise. They need a spokesperson. They need everything that any other company would need. So if you absolutely love cartoons and you want to get into it, but you can't draw a lick and you can't tell red from maroon, that's fine. Find another way. Yep.
Coordinators, they have to have people that coordinate what we're going to do this day. We got to have this scene done. You know, it's so many things you can do for an animation studio. They need cooks. I mean, everything, just like you said, any real job, you know, HR, they need all of that stuff. You know, post-production, pre-production. If you like graphics, if you like adding special effects to stuff but you can't draw, learn After Effects. You know, learn all these 3D programs that way you don't have to draw it all. So, I mean, it's a lot in the animation industry. Just keep in mind that the market is always going to be flooded, but it's just how bad do you want it? You know, you got to make a name for yourself. You got to brand yourself and stay humble at the same time. Learn as much as you can and just stay humble.
Absolutely. Well, man, you have dropped a lot of gems over these last few minutes, man. I mean, I think that this episode right here is going to be something that a lot of people are going to be able to look back to. And this, even though we talked so much about animation, I think people in several other areas can use a lot of this information that we just gave as well, because it's about perseverance. It's about hopefulness. It's a lot of things packed up into this, as well as processes that you need to use in order to get into where you want to go. So if you're listening to this episode and you absolutely love it, then please let us know. Ask questions. We got Instagram, which is hustle&art on Instagram, hustle&art on Twitter, and then we also have a hustle&art Facebook page. Y'all come by, ask any questions that you would like. As Joshua said, he's really good at connecting with people, so I'm sure if you ask questions and we shoot them over to him, he'll be able to maybe toss you an answer or something. Maybe you can find a way to get involved or anything. So also tell the people how they can get in touch with you.
I have websites. I have the JoshuaLeonardArt.com website. That's just me personally, all my character design stuff. And then I have my my company, which is LeonardStudios.com. And on there you can see artwork for Team Supreme. I have merchandise for sale. And then on social media, it's just at Joshua 2_ Leonard, Leonard. So all Twitter, all of that's the same. And before I go, man, just keep in mind that, like I said, I was a Hurricane Katrina victim, so I was homeless for like 6-7 months. Still worked full time, went to school full-time, ran a company full-time, my LLC, and still graduated with a 4.0. So I could have gave up a long time ago, but I never did. I knew how bad that I wanted to have this, and I also knew in my mind what I was capable of. So I just never stopped, man. You just got to suck it up and keep going.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, or those of you who weren't in the South, because I was in Port Gibson, Mississippi when Hurricane Katrina hit as well. Hurricane Katrina was devastating. And it didn't just tear up property. A lot of people look at what happened, and it was extremely bad what happened in Louisiana especially. But then when you look at different places in Mississippi that weren't exactly highlighted on the news, it wasn't just the devastation of the property that hurt. It was the fact that it demoralized a lot of people, because there was a lot of things that were built up, and it was like, oh, we have to restart. And in a lot of places in Mississippi, you have to understand as well, the infrastructure in those places are already bad.
Yep.
So then when you add a lot of the devastation from Hurricane Katrina on top of that, it really did take a really big hit on the places that it impacted. So I can tell you from experience that was devastating. And to be able to still look at your dream and say, I'm going to make this happen, even through homelessness, I'm going to make this happen. That's right. What it takes in order for you to make it. There are so many other people that have similar stories to that have made it big. When you look at Tyler Perry talks about his homeless situation, and it's at one point, I don't know if he still is now, but Tyler Perry had become the richest man in Hollywood. Yeah. And I mean, just think about that, from homeless to that.
Right, and this dude, I live in Sandy Springs, Georgia, and Tyler Perry had a house out here. This house was so big, and you can Google it, because I think he just sold it for like $35 million. But that's the movie he did. Oh, that's the house that he did one of his movies in, but he just sold it. And I mean, this house was immaculate, huge home. So yeah, and I don't need anything like that. And that's why I'm so glad I went through Hurricane Katrina, because it made me appreciate little things and the finer things in life. So just, yeah, man. Because when I went back to visit, and that's when I knew I didn't have a place to stay. My house was gone. But you see BMWs were flipped over, all these fancy cars just turned over like toys, because it don't matter.
Right.
All that matters is, okay, I had my life. I had taken my artwork because I knew it was a Category 5. I ran up out of there, man. Man.
So, yeah, that is truly amazing, man. Once again, I'd like to say thank you so much for allowing me to interview you on the show. Thank you so much for coming in and giving so much, being so open and giving so much information to help other artists that want to come through. So,
absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. That's what it's about, giving back.
All right, and we will make sure to maintain a connection. And I want to stay connected. Anything that Hustle and Art Podcast can do to help, I'll make sure that we're always there. Just let us know. And yeah, like I said, we'll stay in touch.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
All right, so this was an episode jam-packed with great information. I hope everybody learned a little something from this. I know I did. And after the episode, Joshua actually shared another tremendous resource with me, and it's called Exceptional Minds. Now, Exceptional Minds is a professional training academy and a studio for visual effects artists and animators with autism. It's based in Los Angeles, California, and they're a non-profit organization. So if you know someone with autism or that is interested in becoming an animator or a visual effects artist, then please go to exceptionalmindstudio.org. Now, on to the legend of the week. So, I've got a question for you. At any time over the last 50 years, have you paid very close attention to any of the cartoons produced by Pixar? What about Hanna-Barbera? Or what about Walt Disney? If you have, then chances are you've seen the work of the Disney legend Floyd Norman. Floyd Norman is an American animator, writer, and comic book artist that has worked for Disney on and off since 1957 when he helped with the hit cartoon Sleeping Beauty. He actually became the first African American to work in Disney Studios on a long-term basis. Mr. Norman always received questions regarding the racism around Disney Studios and Walt Disney himself, and he always gives a similar response. His experiences have always been about his talent level and what he was able to contribute. He states that he was never concerned about being the only black artist in the studio. He thought of himself as being just another young artist trying to make it. Throughout your career as an artist, you may encounter people that will project their fears onto you, but you cannot allow this to make you lose focus on your goal. Don't allow fear to control where you are going to go in your career. This doesn't matter what career you're in. It can be in art or anything else, but it especially happens a lot in art. People look at art as it may not be profitable, or because of your skin complexion, you may not make it in this field or that field. Never allow that to stop you from trying. Floyd Norman tried, and he actually made it. Floyd Norman was awarded the title Disney Legend in 2007 because instead of listening to other people's fears, he pressed through and allowed his work to speak for him. I encourage everyone who is listening to this podcast today to do the exact same thing. Do not let your fear, or especially anyone else's, stop you from becoming successful.